Oh, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly a pleasure to have you here. Throughout the weekend here at the 36th Annual Cancer Control Society Convention, Sheraton Universal Hotel in Universal City, we've heard about disease, we've heard about fungus, and we've heard a little bit about molds, but now we're going to get into it in a big way. And we have two people, Pam Arnold, Doug Hoffman. Pam Arnold comes to us, of course, as a mother, and written book, The Enemy Within the Walls. Doug Hoffman is a specialist in environmental mold remediation, and so we're very happy to have both of you with us. And I'm going to turn it over first to Pam Arnold. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much. I stand before you as a cancer survivor, actually. We heard many stories. Yes, that's right. Thank you. We heard many stories last night and yesterday about cancer survivors, and I have one myself. At age 26, I was diagnosed with melanoma, and after 2 surgeries and 10 years of going back for checkups every 3 months, I have remained cancer-free since that time. Yes, thank you. But not all stories have happy endings, and I was to know the grief as a widow when at age 36, I was a widow after my husband lost his battle with lung cancer. However, I found happiness again with the husband that I'm with today, but not Mr. Hoffman, but another man is my husband. And we even faced cancer together 7 years ago when he was diagnosed with kidney cancer. So as you can imagine, I have faced cancer and I have won, and I feel like each time that we meet a cancer survivor, we have a victory that dwells within all of us. But today, I want to tell you about a different subject. And this is a subject that found me, and you will hear the story and you'll understand that remark, because I did not go looking for this subject at all. In fact, I could have lived my entire life without it. But 12 years ago, I started to experience symptoms that were very strange. They were here and there all over my body, in strange places that I didn't know what it meant. And in the beginning, they were not as severe, but as time went on, and very shortly in time, just actually a matter of days and weeks, they became very severe symptoms. They became very painful and very difficult to live with. This went on, and finally I knew I needed to go seek the advice of my medical doctor. But he did test, and it came back that everything was perfectly normal. There was nothing wrong with me. I would hear that for another 2.5 years. And at that time, my husband began to experience symptoms too. His symptoms were the same symptoms I had. So we wondered, how could this disease I had and no one could find be contagious? Well, it really wasn't, but we didn't know that at that time. It would be another 2.5 years, 5 years in all, before we would have our answer. And that came one day as we had hired a handyman to come in and do some work in our home. As he pulled back some wall covering, he discovered mold growing behind that wall covering. And as we continued to go from one wall to another, we discovered there was toxic mold behind each strip of wall covering that we pulled back. Eventually, we went to the next room and the next room, and you can guess that after 5 years of growth, this mold had taken over a 4,000 square foot home. It was growing within the walls of the home, and we could not see it. We had no indication it was there. So I thought, well, great, now we have our answer. Now I can take this information to my medical doctor, and he will treat us, and we will be okay. Well, I was wrong. I was not to find my answers in the medical community. We did go to a doctor, and he said he could understand that we had toxic mold in our home. He could also understand that I was sick and that my husband was sick. but he did not believe they were related. So we went to another doctor, and he felt the same way. And then we went to a third doctor, and he felt the same way, but he added that he didn't understand why I kept trying to find things wrong with myself, and why didn't I just go home and try to have a happy life? So I knew then I needed to find another source of medical advice. And I began searching on the computer, and I began to learn about alternative medicine. And I began to search and search for someone who could help us. But you have to remember that we had lost our home now because the home ended up being torn down. Everything that was inside the home, every possession, was considered contaminated. It had to be destroyed. To compound these problems, our business office was in our home. So the files and papers that we had to do business, it really didn't matter so much at this point because we had been so sick we gave up our business license. But we were trying to continue with what business we had left. And all of that was compromised now, and we were being told that needed to be destroyed too. So we had lost our home, possessions, and our business, and our health was compromised beyond belief, physically and mentally. So as we struggled to find answers, we found them with this doctor, Dr. Ray, in Dallas, Texas. He treats environmental diseases. And today, I know I would not be standing here if it was not for alternative medicine and if it was not for Dr. Ray and what he does in his clinic every day. Now, if I tell you that this was an illness, actually, it was a reaction to my environment. And when you look back and you think it all started with the environment, and I say to you, if I gave you a scale of that famous scale, 1 to 10, 1 being the poorest and 10 being the greatest, how would you rate the environment in your home? Just think about it for a moment. And how would you rate it? Well, you know, you won't believe this, but if someone had asked me that question during that time when I didn't know it was toxic mold making me sick, I would have answered, oh, it's a 9 at the very lowest and a 10, I assume. And I was so wrong because there was so much I didn't know about the environment, so much I was not doing that I should have been doing. We thought we were doing healthy things. We had a filter on the air conditioner, and we were growing plants in the house that were supposed to be healthy for us, and we were careful about our cleaning products, but that's not enough. We have to know more about our environment. And when you think about it, everything starts there. We've spent 3 days looking at different types of food. We have talked about supplements. We have talked about a wide range of products that thankfully we know are healthier for us. But none of that does us any good if we take that first breath and it is not a healthy air. We have to have healthy air, and literally it is the air you breathe. Now I'm going to turn the mic over to Doug Hoffman, and he will talk to you about the environmental issues now. But before I close, I just want to thank you for sharing my story with me, sharing my victories, and sharing this time.
Thank you, Pam. I have to say, somebody said to me yesterday, boy, you've got a gorgeous wife. And I said, yeah, how do you know that? She's in Conway, Arkansas right now. But we've had a booth together here the last couple of days and really enjoyed being here. This is the first time that we've been a part of this program. And I'll tell you what, I've just had my eyes opened in a lot of different ways. My name is Doug Hoffman. I'm the Executive Director of NORMI, which is the National Organization of Remediators and Mold Inspectors. And I'm not a doctor, son of a doctor, didn't play a doctor on TV. But I do know mold. And I want to tell you a little bit about my background and then what we're here to talk about today.